How important is that, by the way, getting the amalgam out of your mouth? If you're somebody who's hypersensitive to toxins and you realize, you've got these problems you can't figure out and you have a mouthful of amalgam, how important is it to get that out?
I think it depends on what surface the amalgams are. So if they're on the biting surface, it's more critical than if they're on the side surface. And I think it depends on whether the patient is symptomatic from it. A very healthy patient, it's kind of like this COVID thing. A very healthy patient can probably handle having a few metal fillings. A sicker patient is not going to be able to handle any. And so if I'm really struggling to figure out what's happening with this patient, I can't figure out what's going on. Everything looks good. I've done all the preparation for the patient. I just can't figure out what's going on with them, then that would be a case when I would probably look into their heavy metal load and see if they need to have them removed. I usually will do a pre and post stimulation test. So they'll give me a urine specimen. I give them some EDTA that they take home, DMSA that they use. They take it orally. Then they give a urine specimen before and after. And then we look and see how much load is present before the therapy, how much load is present after. Was there any benefit to using the therapy? Is it helpful? And then we decide, do we want to proceed with oral and rectal, or do we want to proceed with something IV? And it depends on the patient's time and what their needs are and how healthy they are otherwise and how long we have before we have to do something. Are we at a critical point where we have to intervene?
Do you have to assess a person's alimentary process before you give them EDTA or DMSA? Because these are powerful, heavy lifters in detox. They literally make tissue squirt the toxins out into the bloodstream. But now you got to get it out of the bloodstream. And if these people have, impaired renal function or hepatic function, are we putting them at great risk? Because it's just circulating. It's going around and around and around. It's going to be stored again somewhere, but
absolutely. And this is not something that someone comes in my door and gets on their first appointment. This is something that we've gone through a long process. Even if walking in the door, they come to me with their results and they say, hey, I know that I have a high lead and mercury load or whatever their toxins are. I'm going to start with all the things I mentioned, and we're going to make sure their body is primed for optimal function. Because if their cells are still stressed, I'm going to only hurt them and make them worse. Right. This is a last line therapy after we've gotten everything else working optimally, and then we add this into the regimen.